Hi, in this video I will be talking about Tenet, a film written and directed by Christopher Nolan. Whilst Tenet is widely considered a good film, many believe that it is a step down from Nolan's other works, and while these complaints are understandable, I think that they're overstated. Tenet requires rewatches to fully understand. Its sophistication and layers mean that a simple trip to the cinema may not allow you to glean all that you can from the film. Although, regardless of this, the film and cinema experience that Tenet gives is outstanding. Also, this video contains spoilers. Thematically, the film deals with the idea of being unable to change the past. The film's conflict revolves around this, in that the protagonist and Neil must stop the past from being destroyed and changed because they believe that to be wrong, and whilst they are going into the past, they are not aiming to change the past, but merely prevent the future and Satur from doing so, from changing the past. When Neil and the protagonist return to the Freeport later on in the film, the protagonist wears a special suit to avoid contact with his former self. In addition, as clearly this would disrupt the past, which is something they do not want to do, as it would be bad. So although they could change the past, it's shown here how it would be unwise to do so, enhancing the thematic message of how you can't change the past, which is, in actual fact, a strong theme in many of Nolan's films. In the scene where Neil says goodbye, the protagonist asks whether they can do things differently, change things, yet Neil proceeds to say, "What's happened's happened." This links well thematically, as it links with the theme of being unable to change the past. Neil also says that it's not an excuse to do nothing, indicating that just because you can't change the past doesn't mean you should do nothing now. Whilst in the movie he refers to how just because they've won, it doesn't mean Neil shouldn't make sure that the door gets unlocked to help the protagonist or continue the mission, yet thematically it works as well on another layer. The protagonist asks, "Doesn't us being here now mean it never happens?" Neil proceeds to say that he would agree if he's being optimistic, but that there's a chance that it isn't the case with the parallel world theory. They can't take any chances, they can't risk doing nothing, being apathetic. Neil sees the future protagonist in the Freeport, yet he doesn't tell the protagonist that he is present with him, because what's happened, happened. If he said about what happened, then he may have changed the past for the future protagonist, which would go against the thematic message being discussed. Interestingly, posterity, according to the Google Dictionary, means all future generations of people, which links with this as well, as the protagonist is not only saving his generation, but the future too. Also, the word posterity is used 3 times in the script, and a notable time is when Kat asks the protagonist who receives her phone call message when she feels she's in trouble. He replies with posterity, indicating that future generations will help, somewhat foreshadowing how his future self would save her by killing Priya, and how Kat's son, Neil, the next generation from her, would help her save her as well. Answering the call, so to speak. You may argue that the future protagonist is changing the past by forming Tenet in the future for the past, yet he is surely just preventing the actions of Satur, who is trying to change the past, and he's just trying to prevent that. Satur said how the future's oceans rose and the rivers ran dry. Therefore, it seems they are trying to undo this, to save themselves. They are trying to change the past, when instead they should accept what has happened in the past and move on, making sure that they resolve the issue in the here and now. This links to how Neil says, we need to save them here and now, in the present. Satur's motivation, wanting to take the world down, because if he can't have it, no one can, links to this. He's unwilling to move on and acknowledge his inevitable death. Instead, he tries to change the past, ignorantly, rather than doing something to help him in the present or for the future. Chris Nolan's Tenet has been fed a handful of criticisms, yet truth be told, it is a great film. And while it has its shortcomings, such as in the department of foul language, it is very sophisticated and well made. What do you think of Tenet? Say in the comments below. Also, my next video should be a Black Widow review, so stick around for that. Also, I hope to make a video on Dunkirk soon enough, so if you like and subscribe with notifications turned on, you could be one of the first to view these videos. Liking is appreciated too. Thanks for watching. Mission accomplished.